How's it going, football fans around the world, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and predictions on the North London Derby between Spurs and Arsenal. So let's get to it. Going into this match, I don't know about y'all, but I find this match a bit hard to predict just because it's Spurs. I always find it difficult to find Spurs because I kind of look at them like that old saying, they're like a box of chocolates. You just never know what you're going to get from them. If we look at Spurs this season, and they're always like this, but they haven't changed a bit this season either. They were able to beat Crystal Palace 4-0, which is a good sign for them. Harry Kane was able to get a brace, which he's been doing absolutely fantastic. If it wasn't for a guy named Haaland, then everybody would be talking about him because he's having a banger of a season yet again. He's just being overshadowed by that Norwegian guy. Also, Heung-min Son was able to find his feet in that game. You know, he's kind of struggled. He's been up and down this season, but he was able to get a goal. But then before that match, they lost 2-0 versus Aston Villa. They tied against Brentford. They beat Leeds 4-3. They lost to Nottingham 2-0. They lost to Liverpool. They were able to beat Bournemouth. They're just very up and down, right? But what stands out a little bit more this season for Spurs is that versus the Big Six, they've struggled really hard. I don't think they've won any games versus the upper hand teams, right? They lost to Arsenal. They lost to Man United. They lost to Liverpool. They just haven't done well versus those higher end teams. But like I said, it's Spurs. You just never really know what you're going to get. They can be doing crap all match, and then they get 2 goals in the dying ends of the game, right? They're just very sporadic. Unlike who they're going up against this season, Arsenal, who before was, kind of like Spurs. They were very random. They would pick up wins very randomly and then drop points to some of the worst teams in the league. But this season, it's been different. They've been the best team in the league, which is, why they're in first place. And yeah, another thing that kind of stands out to me is just what's on the line for both these teams going into this game. 1, it's a derby. 2, we got Arsenal, who are currently in first. No one really expected them to be first. Not only did we not expect them to be first, but they have a 5-point gap between them and second place. So what a shocker there. But if they want to keep that going, if they want to keep this momentum going, and they want to keep shutting their doubters up, a big way to do that is to go into Spurs home and get a win over them, which they don't do very often. If we look at the history of this match, which I like to so famously do all the time, Arsenal recently haven't found much success at Spurs' home. Last time they played there, they lost, and then again, the last 2 times they played at Spurs' home, they lost 2-0 and 2-1. And if my source here is right, I believe you'd have to track back all the way back until 2010, where Arsenal was able to last get a result at Spurs' home. So they don't do well here. Can they pick up draws? Yes, they've picked up plenty of draws at Spurs' home, but when it comes to beating them at Spurs' home, they just haven't succeeded according to this, which I'll show you, back in 2010. And that's what sticks out to me big time. It's like, wow, they really struggle against Spurs at their home, which every team seems to have, right? There always seems to be that one team that every club has, is that when they're at their home, they just can't seem to beat. So yeah, another thing that kind of sticks out to me is that Arsenal are going into this game with a lot of momentum, which is why they're at the top of the league, but they're going out without Gabriel Jesus. They have a few injuries, and they haven't seemed to skip a beat without it since the restart after the World Cup. I still just don't fully trust Nketiah up top. I know he's done well recently, but in big matches like these, in away games, you really need your striker to have a big day, and I just don't know if I fully trust him to be able to do that, to be able to finish the chances that they're going to create, and if it really comes down to get them a goal out of nowhere. And I just don't fully trust him. That's another concern I would have for Arsenal. But other than that, Arsenal are coming into this game as favorites, right? They've been so dominant. They've only lost once, and they just picked up a draw last time versus Newcastle, which is not a diss at all. Newcastle have been so good this year defensively. I believe they're the best team in the Premier League. So it's not like Arsenal are going to be coming to this game without any confidence, but like I said, I just don't fully trust the striker that they're going to have up forward. So yeah, that's my only concern for this game. But yeah, and then as for Spurs, I've already said it. We really don't know what we're going to see from Spurs. We know how they like to play. They like to be defensive. They like to hit you on the counter, which they're very capable of doing, right? As a Manchester City fan, I can vouch for them because they always seem to do their best against us. But like I said, they're just very up and down, up and down. You never know what's going to happen. Is Kanan, Son, and Kulusevski going to light the game up, or are they going to struggle to keep the ball? Or they're not going to be able to get into that transition, which they like to do? Who knows? But they are coming in this game after a big win. Like I mentioned earlier, they were able to beat Crystal Palace 4-0. Harry Kane still continuing to carry his banger form. So yeah, that's how both these teams are matching up going into this game. So now let's get into my predictions. My prediction for this game, I am going to be going with a 2-2 draw. I know I'm sitting on the fence here. I hate predicting draws because, you know, we want to see a winner. But for me, this match is just screaming a draw. And let me give you my reasons. Like I mentioned before, Arsenal, they don't do well at Tottenham. Another thing that's kind of sticking out to me is that, you know, the last game Spurs were able to do well, so they should be going into this game with some confidence. And since it's a derby and since they're at Spurs' home, I'm totally expecting Harry Kane, Kulusevski, and Heung-min Son to be lit up and to have, you know, a fire under their belly to really get at this Arsenal side. But on the other hand, I do expect Arsenal to dominate this match. I do expect them to control the game, but I just feel like Tottenham, they're probably going to be able to create at least 2 really good counterattacks for them. And in this game, I expect them to finish, right? In a match like this, Derby Day, top 4 at stake, I expect both these teams to be at their sharpest. Now, another thing I would like to mention going for Arsenal, this is a different Arsenal side than we have seen in a while. It's especially a different Arsenal side since we've seen in the past 10 to 12, 13 years. So they do have something going for them going into this match because, like I said, they do struggle at Tottenham, but this is a different Arsenal side. This is an Arsenal side who is at the top of the league. They've been able to really shut their critics up this season because, you know, back in the past, we've always criticized Arsenal because they would do well versus any other team, but when it came up against the big 6 like Manchester City, like Liverpool, like Chelsea, like Manchester United, they always struggled. But this season, they've been fine. They were able to get a win over Liverpool. They were able to get a win over Chelsea. They were able to get a win over Spurs. The only team that they did lose to was Man United. And even in that match, I thought they still looked very, very good. So this is going to be a completely different Arsenal side going into this match. So I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal get the win here. If there is going to be a winner, I do believe it's going to be Arsenal. But like I said before, I still just think that Spurs are just going to be able to earn themselves a draw. That front 3 can be so lethal, hitting anybody on a counter. So that's why I'm going to go with the draw. But yeah, those are just my thoughts on the game. So let me know down in the comments down below what you guys think is going to happen. Give me, guys, your predictions. I respond to every comment. But yeah, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys after the match.